Good evening, sports fans, and you're here today with the FIFA World Cup fan special match review between the match at Australia versus Denmark. I'll be your host today. I'm Sheyi, and I'm in the studio with the one and only Mr. Godwin Mombasa Marrakech. Is Kigali there?
No, Kigali can never be there.
Kigali is it's one of the cleanest cities.
Yes, actually, I've been to Kigali, very fantastic city.
Yeah.
Rwanda is a fantastic country. After genocide, everything turned around. Paul Kagame,
Yes,
who has
19.
been the president for more than 20 years or thereabouts now, has turned the country around. So it is a fantastic country. But for now, it's not among the, the AKAs.
Yes, yes. So was it surprising today? It's called like 1-0.
Okay, so the only thing surprising is that Australia are currently ranked 38 in the world,
Okay.
and Denmark are ranked 10th in the world, the highest ranking so far.
Okay.
And so that's to say that Giant was beaten by a minor. So, but in football, there's no minors again. I actually understand that from this World Cup has showed us that nothing is actually sacrosanct in football. And what I want to actually talk about again is the starting lineup of Denmark. Denmark were full of stars from back. Schmeichel from the back. Eriksen. There is a former Chelsea player, Christensen. And so, but today,
But they had no
we're meant to
excuse.
understand that today, football, big name don't play football anymore. It was just a 1-0 defeat. And how can you explain that during qualifier series, you scored about 30 goals? But this World Cup, the only goal they've mustered so far in this tournament is the only goal scored by the defender, the former Chelsea defender that's currently playing for Barcelona now. What's his name again?
Christensen.
No. Christensen, Andre Christensen. So that's the only goal they've scored so far. So how do you juxtapose? How do you explain that?
There's a big disparity between the performance qualifying for the World Cup and their performance in the World Cup. What do you think could have sparked that kind of change?
Okay, so I saw the Barcelona outcast today leading the attack. Braithwaite, he led the attack today, and I actually seen that I saw that he did not have he didn't muster that courage as a football player. If you look at Matthew Leckie, the guy that scored for Australia national team, you find out that the guy he was running riot at the flank. He was just showing strength.
He was so busy. He was keeping the defenders busy.
Very well, keeping them on check. And actually, if you look at the possession goes to the side of Denmark because they held the midfield with Eriksen in the midfield. So they diffused everything that was coming from Australia national team at the middle of the park. But going forward, the final third, there was nothing. At 70th minute or thereabouts, there was a shout for penalty, and at the end of the day, the penalty was given by the ref, but at the end of the day, it was chalk off for offside position. So I saw a team that there was no cohesion in them. There was this lackluster performance in them, even though one goal wouldn't have been enough for them. Because if they had scored one goal, it means that Tunisia would have gone through, because Tunisia went ahead to beat a France side, Giants.
Yes.
Even though people might argue that the starting lineup of France was shaky, was not that strong side, having qualified before this game. But in all, football is what it is.
Yeah, earlier today, Mike and I were having this discussion that this World Cup, there seems to be a team to surprise you every day.
Yeah.
So today's one is Tunisia.
Well, Tunisia, I would say Tunisia, what they did, I'm actually quite disappointed with them because you don't have any reason losing to Australia in the first place. Because if they had drew that game against Australia today,
they would have had a chance.
They would have qualified. Even though if Australia had actually, if Denmark had scored one goal and the game ended draw, Tunisia would have gone through with goal difference. So they would have gone through. But it is what it is in football. They don't have any reason losing to Australia at all. The first game they got a draw, and people were thinking that at the end of the day they were going to do something. But nobody gave them a chance against France. Quite all right. But they were able to defeat France, even though in quotes, weakened side of France. But football can be cruel. They are the first African team to go home now, and that is what it is. Having 4 points and you're going home. You can imagine that kind of result.
Wow. Football is so interesting. I mean, you can think you are going to qualify, but your points might not be enough.
Yeah, definitely.
This is football. Anything can happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you just joined us, this is the football fan special, the World Cup fan special, and I'm in the studio here with the one and only Godwin, aka Mombasa. We are doing the match review for Australia versus Denmark. We ended 1-0. Unfortunately, we don't have a winner for today because all the predictions were wrong from all our viewers. But keep playing and you keep winning. I can assure you of that. So, Mombasa, back to I have a fun fact for you in the Australia Denmark.
Yeah.
You know, in Russia 2018,
Yeah.
France, Australia, and Denmark were all in the same group.
Same group. Okay. Yeah.
So the last country was Peru.
Okay. Yeah.
So, you know, France qualified and Denmark qualified,
Yeah.
which let Australia out.
Yes.
So Australia felt that grudge that is Denmark that took their spot.
It's time to pay back.
It's time to pay back. So we can see that turnaround. So history, is it being rewritten? Like, I'm seeing a new winner for this World Cup, someone who has never won it before. What do you think about this World Cup?
Okay, so there's always what we call initial gara-gara. Then Bedbug told the children that this water that is hot make we calm down.
When it's cold.
So this is what we're expressing as initial gara-gara. There's going to always be those at that time that when time comes, they go separate boys from men.
From the men.
Definitely. So but not to take anything away from us. So this is their second time they're qualifying for local stage in their history. The second time, so history has been rewritten. And one funny thing again, or good thing again, that their legend, Tim Cahill, who played for Everton. Tim Cahill was at the stadium cheering them up. And he's a man who scored about 3 consecutive World Cup. I think 2006, 2006, 7, 8. 2010 World Cup in
South
Africa, yes, and 2014.
And 2014.
Yeah, 2014. So he scored in 3 consecutive. He was there to share them off with the man who scored 50 goals in 106 appearances for Australian national team. So it was quite good to see those kind of people that are actually giving their best in the national team supporting. Unfortunately, Nigeria is not Nigeria nowhere to be found today.
Interesting. I'm happy you mentioned that support. I mean, it's very key for every sportsman. It's very key for you to have support. So
definitely, support is anything you can think about.
Speaking about support, I saw a video of George Ware.
Yeah.
You know, his son is in the US squad.
Yeah.
He was actually there, waited for his son to come out of the locker room just to get a hug from his son. I mean, it says a lot. It motivates you.
Okay, so talking about George Paul Well, you saw the son scoring, and the Liberia people, they were not happy with him because they called him out, even though when he said proud father, was proud of the goal that the son scored. How can you explain that you are the president of Liberia and your son is playing for America? So you can see
the controversy.
The controversy is there already. So, but support is something that you cannot look down on in anything one does in life. Support is always needed. This is Australia today. Nigerians are ranked above them in FIFA ranking. They're ranked 38 in the world, but they are doing better than us. So one can easily argue that they are a footballing nation, but we have talent, one crop of talent here in Nigeria, but the local support is what we don't actually have. Everything in Nigeria is about politics, just like what's happening in Cameroon today. Cameroon national team now, Eto Sambaleto field, having his field day there, and deciding who goes here, who does not come, who waka, and everything going on there. So sometimes it's always important that you allow football to play its course. Let us have natural flow of football. Support your team, support the people, encourage them, encourage the coaches. If you're giving somebody a job to do, allow the person to do the job. Don't be doing the job for the person. That is actually, people would say, we're always talking about Nigeria. Nigeria is our country, and the only unifying factor for us is football. As the election is coming up now, if we were to be in World Cup, I would have at least, for that moment, forgotten about our problems and sorrow. Come together. Irrespective of your tribe, irrespective of where you are coming from, you would have forgotten that, okay, this is Igbo, I'm Hausa, I'm Yoruba, I'm Ishekiri, I'm this and that, but we would have concentrated on this football. And maybe after football, we'll not carry our problem back again and begin to face our problem and be staring us in the face. So football is actually something, unifying factor, wonderful thing, and that we're not participating in the World Cup is a shame. It's a very, very big shame. But that's not the topic of discussion now.
Yeah, it's not, but you've got me engrossed in it. That's why it provokes one question.
Yeah.
What is the way forward?
Okay,
for Nigeria.
way forward for Nigeria. The man who is at the end of our affair today, I don't think, he's a Portuguese. I don't think he has the technical know-how to lead us, because he must have the energy. He must have, in fact, the love of the country at heart first. He must have that, and they must bear in mind, know what the country need. I was actually talking with Mark this morning. I told him that we need to go back to the indigenous coaches. They were telling me, who is the indigenous coaches? A chance has been given to Cesar in the past, chance has been given to Guava in the past, chance has been given to Stephen Keshi of blessed memory, Amadou Shai. But if you look at the history, what we have today, apart from Westerhoff, Clement Westerhoff, who took us to the Olympic game, I don't think there's anybody who has done more than the local indigenous coaches.
And it's good you said one thing. You started this point with, you have to have the love.
Yeah.
I mean, the men you mentioned now, Clement Westerhoff, even after his reign, as a coach, he still found his way to get into the system.
In fact, he was in Nigeria about last month or last 2 months. He was in Nigeria. Yes, he was in Nigeria about last 2 months. Last 2 months or there, about talking about our football, talking about development, talking about progress. So Genatro tried, because he lasted about 5 years or thereabouts. Yeah, about 5 years, and he was able to galvanize us. He was able to get us into AFCON. The group, we got us to third place AFCON, but that is not what we are actually, because if you look at the crop of talent we have in Nigeria, you can actually argue that we are the best in Africa today, but coming together to play, to perform to that optimum, we are not doing that. So way forward for us, I think, way forward for us. We have new president of NFF now, who is actually silent, because he's not vocal like our man, who is always like a poster boy, talking about Amaju Pinnick, who is even currently in Qatar now, representing and sitting among the elites of footballing nation. So he need to go back to drawing board, even if it's to offend someone, even if to say, no, we can't do this way. Introduce your style. Don't come and be telling us you want to continue the legacy of Amaju Pinnick. We all know that Amaju Pinnick supported him to emerge president, but you cannot come and say because he supported me to emerge president, just like what politicians are doing in Nigeria, that he's my godfather, he's the one that made me to be here, let me support him, let me go. So football is not about, coaching football is not about who supports me or administration in football.
Yeah, and one thing about this World Cup is that these surprises started from an early stage, like for the first round of matches. And now we have seen the fixtures of the knockout stage. For Saturday, we have Netherlands versus the United States of America. And I'm thinking to myself that the Netherlands is supposed to be a walkthrough for them, but never doubt the US.
Okay, so before I go to Netherlands and US, you find out that the game against England, Netherlands, USA versus England, the game that ended square.
Stalemate.
Stalemate, yes. You will be able to understand that there's no, you can say Christian Pulisic of Chelsea is actually the outstanding man there. But if you look at the cohesion in the team, if you look at their performance, the way they play like a team, bond. There's always this bond in them. But if you have a team that's always reliant on one person or two to do magic, if at the end of the day they don't come to a party, there's always a problem.
Like what happened, I believe that's what happened to Denmark. They were expecting the magic from Eriksen. It can come from anybody.
Yes, magic. USA, their team is a compact team that cannot single-handedly pick someone and say this is the person. Even though Christian Pulisic yesterday did the one that scored the goal, got injured and was taken off at halftime. But it's like England and Senegal. If you look at England and Senegal, that game, a lot of people, because you know a lot of stars in England national team, it's not going to be easy for them because this is a Teranga Lions that are African champion. They are the one that, if you look at,
they're up against England.
They're up against England, and it's going to be a very tricky one indeed. So, footballing nation these days don't live up to that expectation. But my brother, I want to see Senegal at the final. If it's possible now.
Well, it's possible. Anything is possible. This is football.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to wrap up the show with this statement from one of our people, that football is a game of the mind. It's 80% of the mind and 20% of your foot. You actually use your mind to control the game.
Definitely.
So you don't lose the game before you play the game. You can lose before you play the game. If your mind says you want to lose, you will lose.
And that's why as people like Jose Mourinho, they can always play mind game against you in any game.
Exactly.
Even if they're coming up against Giants.
Was able to win the Champions League with Inter Milan.
Yes.
That the media termed the team as too old.
Too old, yes, they were too old. Because if you look at Walter Samuel then Samuel Eto'o Field that was rejected, Zanetti that was rejected from Barcelona, Cambiaso, those teams, those crop of players then were players that nobody gave chance, but he was able to use mind game to win the game.
So football is a mind game. Thank you for staying with us on this. Do catch us tomorrow by 12 o'clock where we give you a match preview of Croatia versus Belgium. That's another tight one because the Croatians are up on the top of the standing with 4 points. And the second is Morocco with 4 points. Belgium, they are just hanging on with 3 points, which they are almost out of this Champions League. KDP, is this the end of the World Cup for you? Tomorrow we'll find out. Bye for now.